Yes, so you qualify if furlough occurs, if you're a UK employer and furlough occurs by reason of circumstances arising as a result of coronavirus. So that is very broad. In terms of which employees you can furlough, there are a couple of qualifications. The employee must agree that they've been furloughed and they must be notified, so they need to be confirmed in writing by the employer that they have been furloughed. They need to be furloughed for a minimum period of 3 weeks, so we can't have shorter furlough periods than that. It has to be a minimum of 3 weeks. You can only claim for furloughed employees who were on the PAYE payroll on or before the 19th of March 2020. So the original date was the 28th of February. That's now been extended. And also an RTI submission notifying payment in respect of that employee to HMRC must also have taken place. The other key requirement is the individual employee must not carry out any work for the employer during the period of furlough.
There have been reports of that actually not always being the case, that some people are being asked to work. What would happen?
Well, that would be an abuse of the system. And it's interesting because obviously the question arises, how would HMRC monitor that? How do they root that out? And I understand that HMRC have said they are going to set up a whistleblowing line. So employees can, or anybody else, can whistleblow on businesses who've been abusing the system by claiming for furlough payments while their employees have been carrying out productive work for them.
Now, the furlough scheme covers 80% of workers' wages up to £2,500 a month. What would happen if workers earn more than that?
If you earn more than that, then really the only alternative is if your employer agrees to top up your wages. So if you're a high earner, it may be the case that £2,500 constitutes much more than a 20% cut to your pay. Unless your employer agrees to or is in a position to top up your wage, then that is the maximum you can claim, I'm afraid.
And there are, of course, concerns that the furlough scheme, it has been extended, but that it is potentially a prelude to mass redundancy. What are workers' rights right now? We are in unprecedented times.
Yeah, and I think, this is a job retention scheme, and I think at the moment it is doing its job in that there are millions and millions of employees out there who, but for the job retention scheme and but for furlough, would otherwise be unemployed. They'd be made redundant or laid off without pay. So it's doing its job to that extent. What we don't know is whether or not it will be enough to save businesses. Many businesses will be hoping that when this is over, they're going to get back to business as usual, and obviously they need their staff there to be able to come in and get going and jump straight into it. There will be some businesses, however, who, regardless of any other help available to them, simply won't be able to weather this storm, and those businesses will either not be able to return employees from furlough at all, or will be looking to make redundancies or perhaps reduce workforce after that time, and that really remains to be seen. In terms of employment rights, employees will have the same employment rights as usually apply. If you have over 2 years service, you may be entitled to bring an unfair dismissal claim if you think that your redundancy is being carried out either procedurally unfairly or for an unfair reason.
Angela Brumpton, employment lawyer, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.